This is a video that's going to explain how major puppy mills have all gotten together and taken over the internet to get all the puppy sales, or the majority of the puppy sales. Let's show you what they're doing. And I'm going to just show these babies as I'm talking because it's a lot more entertaining than just me talking. So what's going on is, and I'm also going to talk about the puppy scams. What, Marbles? What's going on is the public has become aware. Are you barking at me? Huh? The public has become aware that there's puppy mills out there. So the puppy mills were starting to suffer from it. So they thought, let's figure out how to fix this. And since they're rich people, because they sell a lot of puppies, so they're very rich. So they're able to come up with something, and they did a good job. They have TV commercials and everything, like major network TV commercials, to get people to go to this particular site. That I'm not going to say their name, because if I say their name, I'm just advertising for them. And I'm not going to do that, because people will go straight there knowing that it's a puppy mill. They'll go straight there and buy a puppy from them because it's convenient. Well, I'm going to explain to you, before I get into that, I'm going to explain to you how bad puppy mills are, because you need to know how bad. Before I tell you about how to avoid scams and about what they're doing and all that, because they're making huge profits because they realized a lot of people are getting scammed. So they're using that to their advantage, and it is working. So before I do that, I'm going to explain to you what a puppy mill is, because a lot of people really don't know what a puppy mill is. That's why they support them. Marbles was just spayed. She will be 6 years old in December. And I don't like to breed them over 6. So right now it is August. So at the very end of July, I spayed her. And it was a good thing I spayed her. Let me show you what happened. I get a text from my vet tech, and she sends me this. This is Marbles' uterus. Okay? That is not a healthy uterus. That uterus would have ruptured if I would have bred her again. No doubt. There's no way that uterus right there could have had another litter of puppies. And I bred her 6 times. So obviously 6 years is not a good cutoff date. That's been my cutoff date, and I've been very lucky. I haven't had a uterus rupture like that. But that one, this particular beautiful little dog's uterus would have ruptured, and she probably would have died. And it would have been all my fault for breeding her too much. So according to my vet, the best thing to do is to just breed them up until 5 or close to 5. That way you're not breeding like a 40, 50-year-old woman. So that's what I'm going to do. Look how cute these guys are. They both just been spayed, and I can keep them together. It's been tomorrow it'll be a week. So they're okay to be together because they're just too sweet with each other. So they're not going to rip open the stitches. And they were just so upset. I was keeping them separate. And finally today I was like, they're just going to be together because their stitches are fine. Because I was taking turns of letting them be by their babies, but they want to be by their babies the whole time. Because those two are Marbles', and then the other 2, short coats, are Beth's. So anyhow, a puppy mill isn't going to stop breeding at 5, 6 years old. They're going to breed until the dog can no longer breed anymore. They're going to breed. And when the dog is all done, they're going to just probably euthanize them, drop them off at a shelter, or if they have connections with an experimental lab and they can make some more money, they're going to sell them to the experimental labs. So that's what happens to these dogs. And if, let's say, Marbles never needed a C-section. Beth never needed a C-section. Beth's only 2.5, but I spayed her because she gave me, that little tiny little dog gave me 6 puppies. And it was just very stressful. And 2 of them were super tiny, 1.2 ounces and 1.7 ounces. And they were fully developed. Now, if they wouldn't have been fully developed, I probably wouldn't have spayed her, because I would have thought, okay, that was just a mistake. Something happened, and next time that's not going to happen. Because, sometimes they'll breed, and then a week later they'll breed again, and that underdeveloped puppies do happen. So it's not a genetic thing. But what she did was genetic. She gave me those two stupid little tiny things that were fully developed, that could have lived if not for me not being able to help them. And I worked so hard, and they died. One of them took 2 weeks, 2 full weeks before she died. And my heart can't take it. So I'm not just going to say, oh, well, they're only 1.2 ounces. Let's just let them die. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try my best and round-the-clock care to save them. So a puppy mill would just let them die. And they would definitely not spay her, because look what she gave me. I mean, she gave me that, and she gave me that, and 2 more that aren't here anymore. So she's a moneymaker, so we're going to keep her. We don't care about the dead ones. Now, let's say that she would have needed a C-section. They would have given her a C-section because she's young. And, you've got to go to the emergency room, and you've got to spend, $4,000 or $5,000. They might not have, but they probably would have given her a C-section. But let's say she was 6 or 7, or maybe even only 5 or so, and she needed that $5,000 C-section. And she had another dog to put the puppies on, because of course puppy mills always have other dogs to put the puppies on. So would she have gotten the C-section then? No. They would and she probably would have been alone the whole time. Just sit there and just, have your babies. If you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. Look at these guys. They're so good. I left it dirty on purpose so you could see how good they are. They folded it over, which wasn't good, but look how they go potty on there. And look how perfect their stool is. But anyhow, they would just let her die. Or worse yet, they would want to save the puppies, so they would kill her and take the puppies out. Because why waste the puppies? This is how sick these people are. I would not put that past them. So, why wouldn't they? If all they care about is profit, why wouldn't they just kill the mother? Which would be better than letting her sit there and suffer. But, it's just all sick. So, this is a puppy mill. And then they live horrible lives. Like right now, these guys are slowly but surely, these puppies are 9 weeks old. They're going potty. And they're slowly but surely going away from their babies. I don't just, at 6 weeks old, because a lot of puppy mills, they sell you a 6-week-old puppy instead of an 8-week-old puppy and lie and say they're 6 weeks. They lie and say they're 8 weeks. So they do that because they want to hurry up and get them out before they get sick. And they can. And the main reason is they look smaller than they really are. They'll tell you that predicted to weigh 3 pounds when they're really predicted to weigh 6. So that's what they do. And the poor mothers, it's bad enough having to take them away at this age. It's already mean. They love their babies. And to just take them away at 6 weeks, just boom, cold turkey, I'm taking your babies, screw you. And to do it again and again and again and again. It's a sick, sick thing to do. They're horrible people. And most of them are USDA facilities. Because once you get really big, you have to be. And they're the worst. And the public that supports them is worse than they are. Because if it wasn't for you, they would not exist. So the public was starting to not buy from puppy mills. Then what happens? The puppy mills all get together and they get with this big agency that sells online, and they start marketing, just brilliantly marketing. And the main focus is you won't get ripped off, because a lot of people are getting ripped off. I've had at least 50 people tell me they got ripped off. They'd send money and not get a puppy. It's widespread. So what they're doing is they're guaranteeing that you're not going to get ripped off. And the greedy public, all they care about is their pocketbook. They don't really care about the dogs, obviously, because they're buying from these people. They know. The word is out that you need to go and visit the place where you get your puppy from to ensure that the parents are not being abused. But they don't. This place does not allow visitors. You are not allowed to go there. If you're not allowed to go there, there's a reason for it, and they'll come up with 1,000 excuses. I called, and it's just unbelievable what they come up with. The bottom line is you're not allowed to go there. You're not allowed to go there because it's a disgusting place. And I don't care how many video chats they do with you. They're going to do a video chat and they're going to say, oh, that, we're going to show you the puppies and show you the parents. Yeah, they're going to bring them into a living room and act like they live there because they think you're stupid. Or are you stupid, Now let me just show you why I'm talking to. This is how when they're still with their, see, and they use the pee-pee pad too. I left them dirty on purpose to show how good they are to use the pee-pee pads because I'm a breeder that actually cares about potty training too. I don't have them on rabbit cages going underneath. And when you get them, they're not trained at all. So anyhow, let me show you what they do on their website. Right here, let me just get it on there. I took a picture of it. Come on. All right, there it is. Okay, perks included. Number 1, you get a health report. I called and asked about that. That's basically the same thing as your health certificate from the vet. I asked what the difference is. They said it's basically the same thing. You show the health certificate, the breeder shows the health certificate, and then they give you the health report. They're trying to make it seem like it's something more than what it really is. So, the health certificate, that's not a big deal either, especially when you're requiring your dogs to be put on planes because you won't allow people to come visit. So you have to have a health certificate to get on a plane, okay? That's part of the thing. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 airlines that doesn't require one, but if you're going in cargo, you have to have it. So they make you get a health certificate, so they brag about a health certificate. Well, I give health certificates for all mine, even though they don't go on planes. It is required in the state of Florida, but I would still do it. So here we go, 3-year health guarantee. I called about that, and that is covered by the company, and that's pretty decent. That I got to admit that the 3-year health guarantee is not bad, but the problem with it is problems don't happen in 3 years. They either happen right away because of hypoglycemia, because of the stress of these poor little things coming from puppy mills. That does happen a lot, puppy mill stress, and the way they're just taken away from their mothers and all that kind of stuff. And they have really bad stools from all the diseases that they're exposed to. So that does happen. So that's good to have that when you're dealing with a puppy mill. But after 3 years, that's when the problems usually start. Actually, it's like more closer to 8. All of a sudden, you got bad hearts that are genetically bad. And a breeder like me, if I hear a story like that, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to, weigh everything out and try to not let this happen again because I actually love dogs. You can't even talk to the breeders from these places to contact them. And they don't care, even if you did. These USDA puppy mill places, they don't care. So they're not going to not breed because when the dog's 8, there's a problem. And that the dog's going to end up dying by 12 because they were just not bred properly and they have bad hearts when they could have lived to be 16. I'm not saying that's never happened to any of my dogs, but I ask questions like, did you get proper dental care? Because that really does affect it. And then I want to know who the parents are. Because if I hear it again about the same parents, I'm going to start putting two and two together. And I'm going to not breed that line. I'm going to do something about it. Now, let me make sure I got everything. I got this little thing here. Marbles' uterus, Beth, I did that. Here. The registries of some of these dogs, this is how bad the registry places are. They will continue to give you registration on litters. Even Beth, what are you doing? You sweet little dog. Are you playing with your dry food? They'll continue to give you registry if the female is 8 years old and the male's 10. So you should not be breeding a female at 8 years old, okay? And you really shouldn't even be breeding a male at 10, because when you go to retire a 10-year-old male, nobody wants them. It's hard enough to find a home for a 6-year-old male because they lift their legs. You know, breeding dogs, you know, they're more likely to lift their legs than non-breeding dogs. So when you got a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old female, 10-year-old, they just, you don't find homes very easily, good homes. It's so much easier to do it when they're, you know, 6 or 7. All right, let me look at this paper because I already did this video a few times and I keep forgetting things. Oh, when you go to these online puppy mill pet shops, they have a huge selection. And you'll see that they don't even have, like, some of them do have states, but some of them don't even have states. The major big one doesn't even have states on there because it doesn't matter what state they're in or you're in because they're all getting shipped. You're not going to their place. Disgusting. And you know, I'm going to be calling people stupid in here when I talk about the scams. But you know, I do stupid things too. We're not perfect humans. It's just, but once you know something, once you know about something, that's when you don't do it anymore. And you should know about puppy mills by now. You should not be contributing to a puppy mill. And you should share this video with people because everybody needs to know about this. Because they are really raking it in and really abusing dogs. They'll show you pictures of how they're raised, but it's all a setup. You don't want to see pictures. You want to see in person so you know that that's what really is what's going on. You guys gonna go potty over there again too? Yeah, we got another one going potty. Those are good babies. All right, now the scams. This is what's going on if you don't already know. It's just like all the, what do you want there, Celeste? Huh? It's just like all the other scams out there that they tell you to give them money via a Western Union. Well, especially if you're talking to somebody on the other end that sounds like they're from Afghanistan or somewhere, you know, South Africa or something, you can tell they're not even someone who lives here probably. They're barely speaking English, and you're going to be stupid enough, there I go, because I can, because I've done stupid things too. You're going to be stupid enough to send them a Western Union? Well, I'm not going to shed any tears for you, okay? You don't do that. You use a credit card. And if they don't take credit cards, sayonara. Tell them to open up a PayPal account, okay? Because PayPal, you can use a credit card. And anybody can open up a PayPal account. And you can fight and dispute if you don't get a puppy. So you can find a puppy without having to go to the puppy mill place, being able to visit, being able to use a credit card. It's easy. It can be done. You can talk to your vet and ask, you know, please let me know when somebody has a litter, because I can't afford some of these prices and I just want to get a puppy from somebody that just had a litter. That's way better than getting a puppy from a puppy mill. And you can get a decent price. So it can be done. It's just harder to do it than to go to one of those easy one-shop places where you see the puppies with their pretty bows and their backgrounds, and they're like, you know, real still and scared, but yeah, here I am. And those puppies aren't going to have personalities like this when you get them. No, they're not. They're not going to be potty trained. It's just, you know, and you get, oh, here, back to this thing. I didn't even finish because I go on these little rants and then back to this. The vaccination records, of course, that's with the health certificate. Registration papers, if they're registered, they get the registration papers. Microchip, they're microchipped, big deal. Dew clause removed, another big deal. 30-day health MedLife insurance. I called up about that, and that insurance is $50 deductible, and it's $500 worth of coverage for 30 days. So when your puppy gets hypoglycemic and you have to go to the emergency room in the middle of the night and it costs you $1,800, you only have to pay $1,350. Lucky you. If your puppy survives. So, yeah. And these puppies don't get hypoglycemic because I know what I'm doing. And people can call me. They get my home phone number, and they can call me at 3 o'clock in the morning if they need to. I don't care if the puppy is an adult and is 6 or 7 years old. Call me. I don't just stop loving these guys when they leave. Okay, I love them forever. So if you're calling an 888 number or an 800 number, you know what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with just some little breeder that treats their dogs good. You're dealing with puppy mills. So let me see what else is on here that I want to make sure I do. I think I might have covered everything. Yeah. So that was my long rant, 21 minutes. Don't forget, please do share this or tell people about it. And let them know. I don't care what breed. This is all breeds. I don't just care about Chihuahuas. See, this is what you want. You want friendly, healthy puppies. And this is, what you want to see. You want to be able to come over to the house and see this. And this isn't how my dogs live. I have another major setup where my dogs that haven't just been spayed or don't have babies live. And you get to see that when you come over here. I'm not ashamed of nothing. I don't hide nothing. So, and I don't give you some stupid excuse like some of them I've heard, I'm afraid that someone might want to come back and rape my daughter and they're just wanting to see where I live. Or, I'm afraid of getting parvo. Yeah, well, you should be afraid of getting parvo, but if you're so afraid of getting parvo, why are you putting your puppies on these transport vans like a lot of them do? If you're afraid of getting parvo, use Neopar at 6 weeks old, and that protects them from parvo. And then by the time they're 8 weeks old, they've already got that major protection from Neopar, and then they go and get their health certificate and get the parvo shot again. They're pretty much protected. But when you're selling the puppy at 6 weeks old in line and saying that they're 8 weeks old, they're too young for the Neopar shot. So yeah, I guess you should be afraid of parvo. I'm afraid of parvo myself because until they are, completely. But you can do things to make sure that the people have less of a chance of having parvo, like telling people, I need you to come early in the morning only. Which is, I don't do that, but you could do that rather than say you can't come here. Because if you're going to go early in the morning, you're not going to go to some other puppy mill first and then come to the person's house. You're going to go to that place first. So certain people, if you feel like they're going to bring you parvo, those people you don't allow, but you at least talk to the people. You don't you don't say, I got to meet you on the porch because I'm afraid to bring you in the house. No, it's not that you're afraid. You don't want people to see the conditions. That is what's going on. So don't listen to these people's lies. Okay. I really do think I covered it all. So I'm going to say bye for now.